Welcome to the course Applied Linguistics presented by Nile Valley University Graduate College. This is me, Prof. Dr. Muhammad Bakri Hadidi. We hope that we gain the much benefit of this PhD program, and we are going to be dealing with the area of applied linguistics within this course. Here is going to be the first lecture of applied linguistics. The course is entitled 7114 Applied Linguistics, and it provides an introduction to the fields of applied linguistics, focusing on how language-related research is applied to real-world problems. That is to say, when we deal with applied linguistics, we relate issues of language to real-life problems, real-life words. The topics concerned with applied linguistics include language acquisition, language teaching, assessments, bilingualism, sociolinguistics, discourse analysis, and language policy. Here we have some course objectives that we have to be aware of, which are represented in the fact that by the end of the course, students should be able to understand the scope and key areas of applied linguistics, analyze language problems in educational, social, and real-life linguistic issues, show specific and detailed knowledge of such applications in various fields, provide examples and show practical ability to apply their linguistic knowledge in one or more of these fields. So you have to think about these points carefully and consider them. They're very important. And here we have the components of the course. We have 1, definitions and perspectives of applied linguistics. Here we're going to be dealing with some different definitions stated by some pioneers. 2, language teaching and learning, and these are very significant areas in the fields of applied linguistics. 3, language acquisition. 4, second language acquisition. 5, analysis of literary styles. 6, translation and machine translation. 7, lexicography and lexicology. 8, language planning and policy. Then we have corpus linguistics, we have to stand for a while about the terms lexicography and lexicology. Some students make confusion between them. Both areas of lexicography and lexicology are related to the study of words, but they have distinct focuses and purposes. For example, when we say we intend to tell about lexicography, we mean that we simply intend to consider the practical art and science of dictionary meaning, and the area focuses mainly on compilation, editing, and organizing of dictionaries. Here we may think of some of the activities that can be involved when we deal with lexicography, like providing pronunciation or usage or etymology. And with etymology, we mean the history of words. And we may also think about activities like grammatical information. This is when we deal with lexicography. Lexicology, on the other hand, is the theoretical study of the vocabulary of a language, how words function together, how words are subjected to change or how do they change, and how are they related to each other. Then we have forensic linguistics, and this stands for the linguistics which is concerned with the crimes and the criminals and issues that are concerned with laws within this field. Then it's going also to be a consideration for conversational analysis, for language assessment, and then for contrastive linguistics. All the areas that have been mentioned now are very important to be considered as fundamental areas in the fields of applied linguistics. Here we are going to have some suggested references. We have Cook G2007, Applied Linguistics, Oxford University Press, Philipson R. 1992, Linguistic, and this is for the year 1992. It's entitled as Linguistic Imperialism, published at Oxford University Press. We have Davis A. 1999, An Introduction to Applied Linguistics, Edinburgh Press. We have Hanston S. 2002, Cobra in Applied Linguistics. This is published for Cambridge University Press. Then Patrick C. et al. 2011, Mapping Applied Linguistics, Routledge. Applied linguistics. When we mention about applied linguistics, we need to be in contact with linguistics in itself as a term. What we mean when we say linguistics. Linguistics is the scientific study of language, and it is commonly concerned with the nature of language and communication, how people communicate to each other. Also, linguistics deals with the study of particular languages and the search for general properties that is common to all languages or languages groups. We may study different features which are shared among different types of languages. There are broadly three aspects to the study of language, including language form, language meaning, and language besides language use. We may say language and language use in a discursive and communicative context. Think about language and relate it to the use of the language in terms of its different fields. Linguistics also should be concerned with the linguists when we say a linguist or linguist. People who study languages are called linguists. They work on specific languages, and here their primary goal is to understand the nature of language in general. Linguists usually try to understand and find answers to some questions like, for example, what distinguishes human languages from other animals' communication systems? In what way are they different from each other? And also, what systems are common to all human languages? Are there some common systems that are applicable to all human languages? Can we have that? That is to say, we may have some features which are concerned with different types of languages shared together, and this is a very important area in the field of applied linguistics. How can the models of linguistic communication, like speech, like signs, like writings, with science here we mean the science of deaf, be related to each other? How can they be related to each other so as to give the unification of linguistics? Also, linguists ask questions like, how is language related to other types of human behavior? The matter is also concerned with human behavior. They ask, what's language? And this is a very primary question. What's language? How is it organized? And how is it analyzed? How do we understand language? How do we analyze language? How are its units discussed and tested? And how do languages differ from each other? Some typical differences between languages are the following. You can have different vocabularies, different word structures, different word orders. We can have different sound systems for different types of languages, different ways of expressing. You can sometimes express within just one word, and you can also express with a phrase. Different ways of expressing speech acts and speech events. Sometimes the expression can be within the language of gesture. And this is what we call non-verbal communication. Then we have some commonalities of the languages. We need to think about that. What are the major items of them? Some of these commonalities we can mention that all languages have nouns and verbs, and all languages have negations. No one can deny, for example, that all languages do deal with some different parts of speech, like a noun, like a verb, like a pronoun, like an adjective, like, for example, the connectors. So this is something common to all human languages. And no one can deny that we have negation for all languages. We have a yes and a no for all languages. And all languages have functional expressions. They all have functional expressions which are conducted within the language itself to play its function actually. All languages can make simple, compound, and complex sentences. You can have a simple sentence, a compound sentence, and a complex sentence in all languages. Let us jump to history of applied linguistics. When did applied linguistics start? Applied linguistics started in the 1950s, and it was concerned at that time with the principles and practices on the basis of linguistics only. In 1960s, applied linguistics was expanded to include language assessment, language policy, and second language acquisition. So here, something new took place to add to how something was added to the field of applied linguistics. Where from just dealing with phases of linguistics in terms of principles and practices, the matter suddenly in 1960s turned out to cover extra items including assessment, language policy, and second language acquisition. In the year 1970s, applied linguistics became a problem-driven field rather than theoretical linguistics. And this is a sharp advance in the field of applied linguistics to turn from the theoretical side to the practical one. By 1990s, applied linguistics had broadened, including critical studies and multilingualism. Instead of dealing with maybe one language, the story has started to be enlarged, that more languages were included under discussion, and instead of dealing with one item or one philosophy of a language, the matter has enlarged to deal with interdisciplinary functions within languages. When we say languages here, actually we mean human languages. In the USA, Charles Carpenter Freeze established the Institute of English in Michigan University in the year 1942. This is a background about some contributions done by Charles Carpenter Freeze in the USA in the year 1942. So this was a very important point to make basis for applied linguistics. In 1946, applied linguistics became a recognized field of studies in Michigan University. So there is a background of the story in terms of United States of America, where the fields of applied linguistics actually started in the United States of America. In 1948, the research club at Michigan University established language learning. And language learning is a journal of applied linguistics. And that was the first journal to bear the term applied linguistics. So this is for the case in the USA. So the first term to include the term applied linguistics was reflected through a journal of applied linguistics in Michigan University. That was in the year 1948. In 1960s, applied linguistics began to establish its own identity as an interdisciplinary field of linguistics, and that was concerned with real world language issues. The new identity was solidified by the creations of the American Associations of Applied Linguistics. It was then founded in the University of Edinburgh School of Applied Linguistics in 1956, and then uh, at the Center of Applied Linguistics in Washington, D.C. in 1957 with the following aims. These were the aims: the advancement of education by fostering and promoting the study of language use, language acquisition, language teaching, and the fostering of interdisciplinary collaboration in this study. And then the British Associations of Applied Linguistics was formally established, and that was in the year 1967, having the following aims: the advancement of education by fostering and promoting the study of language use, language acquisition, language teaching, and the fostering of interdisciplinary collaboration in this study. In 1960s and 1970s, it was largely taken for granted that applied linguistics was about language teaching, and that was a very huge jump. That means focusing of applied linguistics was just put within the limits of language teaching. Let us think of some of the definitions of applied linguistics. Applied linguistics entails what you think, what we know about language involving and how it is used and how it is learned in order to solve some problems in real life situation. Applied linguistics focuses on the relationship between theory and practice, and it has several applications in several areas of language study. It deals with different types of applications here and there in relation to language field. This is going to be including language learning, language teaching, psychology of language processing, discourse analysis also is going to be found, stylistics, besides literary studies. Applied linguistics is the utilization of knowledge about the nature of language achieved by linguistic research for the improvement of the efficiency of some practical tasks, in which language is a central component. This is the definition of Corder, 1974, page 24. Again, think of this very important definition. Utilizations of knowledge. How are we going to make utilization of knowledge? And about what? About the nature of language achieved by linguistic research for the improvement of the efficiency of some practical tasks, in which language is a central component. Corda limits the coverage of applied linguistics to the area of what we call the area of language, including that this is going to be concerned with language as a central item here. Applied linguistics is using what we know about language, how it is learned, and how it is used in order to achieve some purpose or solve some problems in the real world. This is Schmidt and Sells, besides Murica in 2002. Think of that, using what we know about language. So it's a matter of using. That means actual use. So it means real life situation. Using what we know about language and how it is learned, how it is used, for which purpose? For the purpose to achieve the solving of some real world problems. According to Grape 2002-9, the focus of applied linguistics is on trying to solve language-based problems that people encounter in the real world, whether they are learners or teachers. This is for Grape. Grape believes that the focus of applied linguistics is a matter of solving language-based problems that people may encounter in the real world. And that may be scattered here and there between learners and teachers. It may also include supervisors, academics, lawyers, translators, dictionary makers, test takers, service providers, policy developers, etc., and so on and so forth, or a whole range of business clients. So, the main area, according to Grape, is concerned with learners or teachers. This is the first station, the first point. But the second includes supervisors, academics, lawyers, translators, dictionary makers, test takers, service providers, policy developers, etc. And by that, different areas of applied linguistics are being included here. And if you observe about those participants, you're going to find out that their work is concerned with real life problems. According to William Grape, 2002, applied linguistics is the interdisciplinary field that identifies, investigates, and offers solutions to language-related real-life problems. So again here, the meta is going to give a specific consideration to real-life problems. Grave definitions highlights the interdisciplinary nature of applied linguistics and its focus on solving practical language-related issues. So, the matter is solving practical language-related issues. David Noonan, 1999, states that applied linguistics is concerned with the practical applications of language studies to real world problems and often in relation to language learning and teaching. So, Noonan focuses on the real world problems in terms of the practical applications of language studies. And according to him, the matter often comes in relation to language learning and teaching. Noonan emphasizes the link between applied linguistics and the practice of language teaching and learning. So here, Noonan gives consideration to the link that has to be observed between applied linguistics and the practice of language teaching and learning as a fundamental area. Then we have James Paul G. 2000 2. James Paul Gee, 2004, mentions that applied linguistics is the study of the relationship between language and the social world, with a focus on how language affects and is affected by the social environment. And Gee frames applied linguistics as the bridge between language and social context, highlighting the connection between social linguistics and discourse analysis. This is for Gee. So Gee intends to connect between social linguistics and the discourse analysis in terms of applied linguistics. Alastair Pennycook, 2001, defines applied linguistics as the investigations of real-world problems in which language is a central issue. So here, according to Penny, the matter is an investigation of real-world problems. And this issue is supposed to include language as a central task here. Team MC Namar 2000 states that applied linguistics is concerned with the relation between theory and practice, as well as the fields involved in policy and educational settings. So, he seems to be dealing with the same area. Where it's concerned with relations between theory and practice, a matter of connecting theory with practice. As the field's involvement in policy and, for example, educational settings. Profit 1997, page 93, defines applied linguistics as the theoretical and empirical investigations of real world problems in which language is a central issue. So he agrees with them on the same area, where the matter is a connection between the theoretical and the empirical investigations in terms of real world problems. Language is going to be a central issue, actually. Alan Davis, 2007, defines applied linguistics as a science that concentrates on the human problems of language and tries to identify some of them and indicates what's done about them. So, according to him, there should be a focusing on human problems of language, then trying to identify some of these problems, indicating what's done about them. Kaplan, 1980, and Bloomfield, 1975, consider that applied linguistics should fulfill a role that is wider than language teaching and consider it as a science of everything. It's not just a matter of language teaching and language uh, learning, according to them. It should exceed uh, the range of language teaching and consider applied linguistics as a science of everything. Wilkins, 1999, states that applied linguistics is concerned with creating understanding of the role of language in human affairs and therapy, providing the knowledge necessary for those who are responsible for taking language related decisions. We have H.D. Woodson, 1978. He states that applied linguistics is the study of language in use. It concerns itself with the practical aspects of language, such as teaching, language planning, and the development of language-related technologies. So there is a great sort of contributions we can observe. Wilson emphasizes the practical real-world applications of language research in areas like education, policy, and technology. Here are some fields of applied linguistics. You have to think about language acquisition. This area studies how individuals learn language and how they gain that, both first and second languages, and the process involved in language development. Also, applied linguistics includes second language acquisitions, SLA, focuses on how people learn a language other than their native one, examining the cognitive, social, and educational aspects of the process. Language teaching and pedagogy involves developing effective methods, materials, and curricula for teaching languages. It includes areas like ESL, English as a second language, or EFL, English as a foreign language, and TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages. Social linguistics is considered as one of the main branches of applied linguistics. It examines the relationship between language and society, including issues of language variations, dialects, language and identity, multilingualism, and language policy. Psycholinguistics. This area investigates how the brain processes language, including how we produce and understand speech, as well as how language is stored in memory. Forensic linguistics Applied linguistic analysis in forensic linguistics is concerned with the legal issues. It's done here to legal issues such as the interpretations of status concerning, for example, the analysis of language in legal documents, maybe, or the identifications of authorship in disputed texts. Discourse analysis. Discourse analysis studies how language functions in communications, focusing on larger units of speech or writing, like conversations, text, and social interactions. Corpus linguistics, and here uses large collections of real-world languages data, corpora, which is already found, to study language patterns, usage, and variations across contexts. We have language planning and policy. This involves the development and implementations of policies regarding language use, reservations, and educations, and often in multilingual contexts. Lexicography, as we have mentioned at the beginning, the study of dictionary making, including the design, compilations, and analysis of dictionaries. Thank you so much for being with me here in this first lecture presented by Nile Valley University Graduate College, and see you next lecture. Thank you so much.